I didn't realize my wedding was being stolen until the music started. The doors opened, everyone stood, and I lifted my bouquet, ready for the moment I'd pictured for months. Then I saw her, my sister Tara, wearing my exact wedding dress, holding my bouquet, smiling like she belonged there. And the worst part? My fiancé Evan didn't look surprised. He looked relieved. For a split second, my mind refused to accept what my eyes were showing me. My hands went cold and the room seemed to shrink around the aisle. The flowers, the soft candles, the guests in their perfect outfits, like someone had staged a beautiful set for a nightmare. Tara took one slow step forward, then another, and the entire room watched her like this was normal. Like this was always the plan. I waited for someone to laugh, for a photographer to say, "Okay, prank's over," for my mom to stand up and shout her name. But nobody moved. And then Tara tilted her head toward me, still at the doorway, and mouthed two words I will never forget. "Be happy." That's when I understood. This wasn't an accident. This was a decision. And if I didn't do something right then, I was going to become a guest at my own wedding. A year ago, if you had asked me what Tara was like, I would have given you the polite answer. I would have said she was bold, charismatic, the kind of person who could walk into a room and instantly make it hers. If you asked my mother, she would have said Tara was misunderstood. If you asked Tara, she would have said Tara was destined for more. But if you asked me, really asked me, I would have admitted the truth. Tara never wanted what she had. She wanted what I had. Growing up, she treated life like a competition I didn't know I'd entered. If I got praise, she found a way to get more. If I brought home good grades, she suddenly had potential that nobody appreciated. If I made friends, she made them laugh harder. And when I started dating Evan, Tara did what she always did. She inserted herself. Evan and I met at a friend's board game night, of all places. He was calm, steady, the type of man who listened like your words mattered. He didn't try to be the loudest in the room, and for me, after years of feeling like I was always competing for air in my own family, that felt like safety. Our relationship moved slowly at first. Then it moved all at once. A year later, he proposed in our tiny apartment kitchen while I was barefoot, wearing a hoodie and eating cereal straight from the bowl. I said yes before he finished his sentence, and for the first time in my life, I felt certain. When we announced it, my friends screamed and hugged me. My mother cried, and Tara smiled like she'd just heard good news about herself. The next morning, Tara called me and said, "I'm going to be your maid of honor." Not asked, declared. I hesitated, because I had a best friend, Maya, who had been with me through everything. The obvious choice, the safe choice. But my mother's voice was already in my head. "She's your sister. This is family. Don't make it a big deal." So I did what I always did. I made room. And Tara moved in like she owned the place. At first, it was almost helpful. Tara had energy. She had ideas. She knew how to talk to vendors like she had a law degree and a microphone. She pushed for upgrades I didn't even know existed. "The champagne wall," she said, showing me photos on her phone. "Non-negotiable." "The violinist," she said. "Goosebumps, I promise." "The dress," she said, gripping my arm a little too hard at the bridal boutique. "Try this one." She was right. The dress was perfect. A sleek, elegant silhouette with soft lace details and a long train that made me feel like a version of myself I had never met. Confident, grown up, glowing. When I stepped out of the dressing room, my mom gasped. Maya cried. Tara stared at me, silent. Then she smiled slowly and said, "Finally." I didn't understand what she meant. I should have. Because from that day forward, Tara started collecting pieces of my wedding like souvenirs. She insisted on keeping a copy of every receipt for organization. She asked the planner to include her in every email so nothing gets missed. She volunteered to store my dress at her apartment because your place is too small. I told myself she was just being thorough. I told myself I was lucky. But there were moments that didn't feel like luck. Like when I got a text from a florist asking me to approve the new color palette. and I stared at the screenshot Tara had sent them. Dark red roses, black ribbons, a dramatic gothic vibe that looked nothing like my soft garden theme. Or when my venue coordinator called me and said, "We're excited about the new timeline Tara submitted." New timeline? Tara hadn't mentioned any changes. When I asked her about it, she waved her hand like I was being dramatic. "Relax," she said. "It's better. Trust me." And the scariest part? People did trust her, because Tara spoke like a person who could not be wrong. And I, after a lifetime of being the easy daughter, had learned that it was simpler to stay quiet than to start a storm. Until the week of the wedding. That's when the storm walked into my life and locked the door behind it. 3 days before the ceremony, I got an email from our wedding planner, Jenna. Subject line: urgent. Contract name update. I opened it while standing in my kitchen, still in work clothes, half distracted and tired. The email was short. "Elena, I need to confirm, why did you request to change the primary name on the venue contract from Elena Hart to Tara Hart? If this was an error, please call me immediately." My heart stuttered. I reread it 3 times, like the words would rearrange into something that made sense. Then my phone rang. Jenna. "Tell me this is a mistake," she said, not even saying hello. "I didn't change anything," I whispered. There was a pause, one of those pauses where someone is trying to remain professional while their instincts scream. "Elena," she said carefully, "your sister emailed us from the shared wedding address, approved changes, and signed documents." Shared wedding address? I never shared my wedding email with Tara. I had created it myself to keep things organized, but I had logged into it on Tara's laptop one night after dress shopping because my phone had died. I remembered her offering casually, "Just use mine." I remembered how she watched me type my password with a smile on her face. My stomach turned like I'd swallowed something sharp. "I need copies," I said. "Now." Jenna sent them. And there it was. A PDF with our venue logo, our dates, our payment schedule, and under client name it said, Tara Hart. Not mine, not even Evan's, just hers. My fingers went numb as I scrolled. There was another change, hidden in the details. The couple names section now read, Tara Hart and Evan Cole. My fiancé's name. On a contract for my wedding. I felt a wave of heat rush up my neck, as if my body was preparing for impact. Because suddenly the vision of Tara walking down the aisle in my dress didn't feel impossible, it felt planned. And the fact that Evan's name was there made one terrifying question slam into my mind. Did he know? I didn't call Tara first. I called Evan. He answered on the second ring, voice casual, like everything was normal. "Hey, babe, what's up?" I tried to keep my tone steady. "Why is your name on a contract with my sister?" Silence. 1 second. 2. Then he exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for days. "It's complicated," he said quietly. That sentence did something to me. It cracked the last thread of denial I had been using to hold myself together. "Complicated is what you say about taxes," I replied. "Not about my sister putting her name next to yours on my wedding contract." "Listen," he said, and his voice had that gentle tone he used when he thought I was about to overreact. "Tara's been helping. She's handling things. She told me it was a temporary administrative move because the venue needed a primary contact." "Then why is she listed as the bride?" I asked. More silence. And then, so softly I barely heard it, Evan said, "I didn't want to stress you." I laughed once, sharp and humorless. "So your solution was to let my sister become me?" "Elena," he said, "please, we can talk when you get home." "We are talking," I snapped. "Right now." He didn't answer, and in that quiet I heard the truth before he confessed it. He wasn't shocked. He wasn't confused. He was caught. I drove straight to Tara's apartment. I didn't call ahead. I didn't want her to prepare an excuse. My hands shook on the steering wheel, and by the time I reached her building, my body felt like it was running on electricity. She opened the door wearing a silk robe, holding a glass of iced coffee like she was in a skincare commercial. When she saw my face, she smiled. "Ah," she said, "you look like you're about to cry." I pushed past her, and then I saw it. My dress, hanging in her living room, not in a garment bag, not protected, just displayed, like a trophy. Next to it, on the couch, was my wedding bouquet, fresh flowers already arranged, my exact colors, my exact style, and on her coffee table, a stack of printed papers with the venue logo, my contract, her name, Evan's name. I turned to her slowly. "What is this?" Tara took a sip of her coffee, unbothered. "It's your wedding." "No," I said, my voice trembling. "It's my wedding. Why is your name on everything?" She tilted her head, pretending to think. "Because you're not built for it." My mouth went dry. "What did you just say?" Tara stepped closer, her robe swaying, her eyes bright with something I had seen 100 times in childhood, this thrill she got when she felt powerful. "You've always been the quiet one," she said. "The good one. The one who lets life happen to her." I stared at her. "This is insane." "No," she said, smiling wider. "This is efficient." I felt my heart banging against my ribs. "You stole my email. You changed my contracts. She cut me off with a laugh. "I improved them." Then she looked at me like I was disappointing her. "Do you know how many people are coming because of me? Do you know how much better everything looks because I took control?" I swallowed hard. "Evan doesn't belong to you." Tara's smile didn't disappear. It sharpened. "He belongs to whoever can keep him," she said. "And you've been slipping." That word, slipping, hit me like a slap. Because it wasn't just about the wedding. It was about my whole life. And Tara had decided she deserved it more than I did. I left her apartment without my dress, because when I tried to reach for it, Tara grabbed my wrist and squeezed. "Don't embarrass yourself," she said softly. "Not this close to the big day." I pulled away, my skin burning where her fingers had been. I walked to my car, sat behind the wheel, and stared straight ahead until the world stopped spinning. Then my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. "Why are you upsetting Tara? She's under a lot of pressure. Don't ruin this week for everyone." For everyone. Not for me. Not for the woman actually getting married. For everyone. I stared at that text until my eyes blurred. And that's when something in me finally snapped. Not in a dramatic movie way, but in a quiet, irreversible way. I wasn't going to beg for my own life anymore. I wasn't going to fight Tara in a screaming match that she could twist into a story where I was the villain. I was going to do what Tara never expected. I was going to take control in silence, and I was going to let her walk into the consequences. I called Jenna, the planner. "Do not approve a single change from my wedding email," I said. "I'm resetting access, new password, new phone verification. Tara is not authorized to speak for me." Jenna's voice sounded relieved. "Thank you. I suspected something was off." Then I called the venue. I asked them a simple question. "Who paid the last deposit?" The coordinator hesitated. "It came from a different account," she said. "Whose?" I asked. "Tara Hart." My blood turned cold. Because that meant Tara wasn't just stealing my wedding, she was buying it. And if she was paying, she would claim she owned it. So I called my bank. I looked at my transfers. And there it was. 3 weeks ago, a payment labeled Venue Final had left my account. But the venue said Tara paid it, which meant my money hadn't gone to the venue. It had gone somewhere else. I followed the trail item by item until I found what I was looking for. A transfer from my account to a personal account name I recognized instantly. Tara's. My sister didn't just hijack my wedding. She stole my money. And I had proof. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I forwarded every document to myself, backed it up, and sent it to Jenna and the venue coordinator with one sentence. "Please remove Tara Hart from all contracts immediately. This is unauthorized, and I have documentation." Then I texted Maya. "Can you come over tonight? I need you. And I need you to bring your laptop." Maya arrived in sweatpants and determination, like she was prepared to fight a war. When I showed her the contracts, the emails, and the money trail, her face went from confusion to fury in about 10 seconds. She's out of her mind, Maya said. She thinks I won't do anything, I replied. Maya looked at me closely. Are you going to do something? I took a slow breath. Yes, I said. But not the way she expects. Because Tara wanted a scene. She wanted tears, chaos, pleading. Something she could twist into a story where she was the glamorous hero and I was the jealous sister trying to ruin her happiness. I wasn't giving her that. Instead, I was going to give her something worse. A room full of witnesses. The morning of the wedding, I woke up with a calm I didn't recognize. My hand still shook a little as I drank water, but my mind was clear. Jenna had confirmed the venue had removed Tara's name and reinstated mine. The coordinator had apologized. They had flagged Tara's communications. But there was one thing I still didn't have: my dress. And without it, Tara could still do damage. So I did the only thing I could do. I wore a different dress. Maya and I went to a boutique the day before and found something simple and stunning. Ivory satin, clean lines, no lace, no long train. It wasn't the dress I had imagined, but it was mine. And that mattered more. When we arrived at the venue, the staff looked nervous, like they were waiting for a disaster. Jenna rushed to me. She's here, she whispered. Good, I said. Jenna blinked. Elena, are you okay? I nodded. I'm ready. Because by then, I had made my decision. If Evan chose me, he would stand with me publicly, without excuses. If he didn't, then today wasn't just the end of a wedding, it was the end of the illusion I'd been living in. And that's how I ended up at the doors, hearing the music start, watching guests rise, only to see Tara in my original dress. Tara had done exactly what I thought she would. She walked down the aisle like a queen. Guests whispered, phones lifted, confusion rippled through the room like wind through tall grass, and Evan stood at the front in his suit, staring at her like he was watching a train he couldn't stop. When Tara reached him, she turned to the officiant, smiling sweetly. I'm ready, she said. The officiant looked between her and Evan, uncertain. Evan swallowed. Then Tara leaned closer to him, and I saw her hand slide into his. That's when I stepped forward. Not running, not shouting, just walking, slowly, steadily, down the aisle in my new dress. The room froze. If you've never felt 100 people stare at you at once, I can't explain how heavy it is. It's like the air becomes thick, like you're moving through water. I stopped halfway down the aisle and I spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. This wedding is under my name, I said, and Tara is not the bride. A few gasps, quick and sharp. Tara's smile faltered just for a fraction of a second. Then she recovered fast, turning dramatic. Elena, she said, voice syrupy, don't do this. Not here. I looked at her calmly. Then you shouldn't have done it here. Evan's eyes flicked between us, panic rising. My mother stood up in the front row. Elena, stop. I turned slightly. Mom, please sit down. The room went so quiet I could hear someone's bracelet clink. Tara lifted her chin. This is embarrassing for you. I nodded once. It would be, if I had anything to be embarrassed about. Then I pulled my phone from my bouquet hand, because yes, I had planned that, and I held it up. I have emails, I said. Contracts, payment records, proof that Tara accessed my wedding account without permission and changed the documents to put her name and Evan's name on them. Tara's eyes flashed. Evan's face went pale. And then Tara did what Tara always did when she felt cornered. She tried to make it emotional. She pressed her hand to her chest and said, I did everything for you. I sacrificed so much, and you're doing this to me? I didn't react. I just asked the question that cut through her performance like scissors. Where did my venue payment go, Tara? A ripple moved through the guests. Tara's lips parted slightly. I continued, voice steady. Because the venue didn't receive it from me. They received it from you, which means my money didn't go to the venue. Tara's smile cracked, and my mother's face changed, confusion, then suspicion, then something sharp. Tara spoke quickly. That's not what happened. Elena's twisting things. I nodded. Then let's clear it up. I turned to Jenna, who stood at the side with a folder in her hands, face tight with stress. Jenna, I said, can you confirm whose name is on the contract now? Jenna swallowed. Elena Hart, she said clearly. As of last night. Tara's eyes widened, because she hadn't known. She thought she still owned the room. I turned back to Evan. And you? I said, voice still calm. Did you know Tara changed the contract to list you as the groom? Evan opened his mouth, closed it, then finally said, I knew she was handling some details. I stared at him, letting the silence grow long enough for everyone to understand what he was really saying. He didn't stop her. He let it happen. Because it was easier than standing up to Tara. Evan took a step toward me. Elena, I didn't want to fight. Tara said you were overwhelmed and she was helping. I nodded slowly. And you believed my sister over me. It wasn't like that, he pleaded. I looked at him, and something inside me softened, not for him, but for the version of myself who had wanted so badly to be chosen. I gave you peace, I said. I gave you stability. I gave you my trust, and you repaid it by letting my sister try to replace me. Tara snapped, voice sharp now. Oh my God, you're being so dramatic. I turned to her. Dramatic would be if I screamed. Then I took another breath and said the sentence that made Tara's face go white. I also have a recording. Because Maya had done one thing Tara never expected. She had called Tara the night before from a private number, pretending to be a vendor. And Tara, arrogant as ever, had bragged. On the recording, Tara's voice was bright, proud. I'm basically the bride, she said. Elena won't fight me, she never does. And Evan is tired of her anyway. A wave of shock ran through the guests. Someone whispered, Oh my God. My mother sank back into her chair, stunned. Evan stared at Tara like he was seeing her for the first time. And Tara finally looked scared. She stepped forward, hands out like she could fix it with charm. Elena, please, she said, you don't understand. I smiled slightly. Not with joy, with clarity. Oh, I replied. I understand perfectly. Then I did something that felt like stepping off a cliff and landing on solid ground. I turned to the guests. I'm sorry, I said. This isn't the ceremony you came for, but I won't stand here and let my life be rewritten. I looked at Jenna, then at the venue coordinator. Please escort Tara out, I said. The coordinator nodded, already signaling security. Tara's mouth opened. You can't do that. I met her eyes. I can, because it's my wedding. Tara spun toward Evan desperately. Evan, say something! And Evan didn't. He didn't reach for her. He didn't defend her. He just stood there, trapped between his cowardice and the consequences of it. Tara was led away, still wearing my original dress, still clutching my bouquet like it was the last piece of my identity she could hold on to. And as she passed me, she hissed, You'll regret this. I watched her go. Then I turned to Evan. He stepped toward me, voice trembling. Elena, please, we can still do this. It got out of hand, but I love you. I stared at him for a long moment, and I realized something that felt brutal and freeing. Love without loyalty is just a word. I don't doubt you care about me, I said quietly, but you don't protect me, and I can't build a life with a man who lets other people decide who I am. Evan's eyes filled. So, that's it? I nodded. That's it. He looked like he wanted to argue, to plead, to promise. But the room was watching, and he had already shown who he was when it mattered. I turned away. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I was done being pulled back into a story I didn't write. After Tara left, Jenna approached me carefully. Elena, she said, we can still proceed. We can start over. We can... I shook my head. I looked at the guests, my friends, my coworkers, even some relatives who looked genuinely ashamed. And I felt something I didn't expect. Relief. I'd like to do something else, I said. So we did. We turned the wedding into a gathering, not a celebration of a couple, a celebration of the truth. We moved the chairs outside. We opened the champagne. We played music that didn't try to pretend everything was perfect. Maya hugged me so hard I could barely breathe. My mother approached later, eyes red, voice small. "I didn't know," she whispered. I held her gaze. "You didn't want to know." She flinched because it was true. I didn't forgive her that day. But for the first time, I didn't soften my words just to keep the peace, because keeping the peace had cost me too much. That night, I went home alone. I took off my dress, washed my face, and sat on the edge of my bed in silence. My phone buzzed nonstop, messages from guests, from relatives, from people who had witnessed Tara's downfall in real time. I ignored most of them. Then a message came in from a number I didn't recognize. It was Tara. One sentence. "You stole my moment." I stared at it until I almost laughed, because it was the most Tara thing Tara had ever said, as if moments belonged to her, as if I had ever been anything but a supporting character in her mind. I didn't reply. I blocked her. Then I opened my laptop, looked at the financial records again, and sent everything to an attorney. Not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted closure. I wanted boundaries that weren't negotiable. And when I finally lay down, exhausted and empty and strangely light, I realized something that made my chest ache. A wedding is not a prize. A man is not a prize. Family approval is not a prize. The only thing worth protecting is your own life. And for the first time, I wasn't protecting it by staying quiet. I was protecting it by choosing myself.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and explore our channel for more love, betrayal, and redemption tales.